All right. Time Stranger comes out in like an hour. I just finished replaying Cyber Sleuth, um, and now I need to just get everything out of my brain. Cyber Sleuth is not an interesting game. It's kind of boring. I don't know why I enjoyed it. I literally do not understand why. So I'm trying to think on it. And it's hard for me to make sense of why it's good. It was good for me because I already played it way back when on the PS4, and the game itself is apparently over a decade old. It came out in 2015 for the PS Vita and the PS4. So it's like a dated game, and it very much feels more like a PS Vita game than a PlayStation 4 game. Like it feels like one of those old JRPG dungeon games that just kept coming out on the system over and over and over again. Like it felt like Crisis Core. It felt like that one Fates game. It felt like the Persona 4 Golden with the dungeons and shit. Like the JRPGs of that era all kind of played very much the same, and this one kind of played exactly like that too. And well, except for Persona 4, most of the games that I played from that time period, I don't really remember very well. I do remember them all just being kind of like a very meh type of game, this one included. So I thought after like 10 years, it just wouldn't be fun to play in 2025. And yet, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot actually. So it's hard for me to place why. I think though when it comes down to it, it's obviously always going to be a personal thing, but for me, it really is the characters, which is kind of unusual because I'm really picky about what kind of characters I get attached to. So then I have this issue where if I find them boring, I don't care. I literally don't care about the game. It's why I couldn't get into Hacker's Memory. I just did not care about these guys and what they were doing. It did not matter that the music was sick and awesome. Their story did not interest me. And Cyber Sleuths, their characters, they're very 2D on the first pass, and honestly, actually, even by the end of the game, they're still very 2D, but I don't think it's a bad thing. They have very straightforward character arcs, and that those character arcs being straightforward, I think actually helps them out a lot because we're not adding in extra fluff and extra nonsense. Like there's no spiraling plot lines that never get resolved. It's just this is the character, this is like kind of the flaw that they have. Here's how it changes over the course of the game. Like that's kind of an ideal character arc for me. Like you get a flaw, it gets resolved at some point, and there's maybe one or two moments that justify the character changing for the better or for the worse. Like all not all character arcs have to be positive. But the actual music kind of does a lot of the work. You really don't need a lot of super immersive scenes or character acting to follow along. Like it's just not necessary. Though that being said, the actual character models, they are actually incredibly expressive. Like that's something I didn't actually expect. I thought it would be more like Pokemon style, like their legs kind of move to indicate who is talking to who or whatever, like old school Pokemon, like freaking like Gen 1, 2, 3, that kind of thing. I kind of expected something incredibly stilted like that, but when I don't know why I expected that actually, like my standards are just so low. Like I just don't expect expressive acting anymore. But the actual cutscenes themselves, they show a lot of character. So they don't actually feel like they drag on too much. That is to say only when the characters are talking to each other. If it's like Kyoko info dumping, I'm tuning out. I have no idea what she's saying. I don't care. I really don't understand anything that she talks about. Like she sounds cool. She sounds very wise, I guess, but also she sounds like a fucking scatterbrained. Wait, am I swearing? No, we don't want that. But she talks too much. I will say that. Where was I going with this? Even though she talks too much, it's not necessarily the dialogue itself that I care that much about, like actually what she is saying. It's more like I like how she interacts with the cast, and I think when it comes down to it, that's probably what I enjoyed the most about this whole thing. Like the way that the characters talk to each other, their rapport with each other, it's kind of really fun to witness. Like their individual personalities are so strong. There's no situation where you can swap one character for another and put them in the same position and expect him to say or do similar things. It just doesn't happen. They're all so distinct from each other. And it's great. That's kind of, I guess, one of the things I like the most out of any kind of like game, JRPGs especially, or just RPGs in general. If you have a party, the party dynamics better be really, really fun if your actual story is boring, especially if your dialogue is boring. Like, they better be up to hijinks. Obviously, if you had a story that works, that would be good too. That would be ideal, actually, but if your characters are at least fun, if your soundtrack is at least fun, I think that's probably good enough for me. The story itself, though, it's not bad. It's not bad, and wait, is it bad? Hold on. I don't really remember it. It was kind of a bit of a blur. I did kind of cram in like everything in a very rushed time frame in the last like 5 days. I don't even know if that's how long it took. I think it was even less. It's been a bit of a blur rushing through this game. But even though I was kind of rushing to just get it done and out of the way, I wasn't particularly invested in the story itself, but I did want to see how our characters would maneuver themselves through all the stuff that kind of happened. All in all, if you remove all of Kyoko's like digispeak and explanations and exposition, like the story is very, very, very straightforward. Like stuff is going wrong, the protagonist is got the power to fix it. They go in and fix things, and there you go, you fixed it. I think more stuff happened. I don't really remember, but I do remember that every single scene, chapter to chapter, nothing really felt super out of place. There were the few in between chapters that was kind of more like, it really just felt like filler from like some anime. Like, I was just like, do we really need to have this right here? Can we not just like do other stuff, main plot related? But even those little side stories that we were kind of forced to go through for the main story, I realized that they kind of needed to be there. Even if I wasn't super into them, I'd rather get to the main plot. They needed to be there for the sake of pacing, and I really firmly believe that, because the game has a lot of exposition, like way too much, and the few like filler missions that they have there, they really do a lot to kind of, one, bring the pace down, and two, kind of add a lot of like fun into it when the main story is becoming too dry. Like every time I am skipping through cutscenes and dialogue, like just to get on with the next part, we would get a mission that slows the pace down and lets me actually do some, like, I guess, detective work, as they would have you do. And the quests that they have, for the most part, like mainlining those like detective things that you should be doing, they're not bad. My favorite is definitely the Shinjuku Scramble. Is that what it's called? The one where you gotta find a ghost girl, and the ghost girl does like creepy things and freaks people out and almost gets a kid killed. I thought that was great. I thought it was fantastic. I guess I'm glad they didn't die. They didn't get like isekai'd into another world, but it was fun. It was enjoyable, actually. And that's another thing. For that specific cutscene, I remember it being really different, because a lot of the cutscenes are really just like character stands on either side of the dialogue box, and then they talk at each other and then emote and all that, blah blah, whatever. But for that one specifically, once you had the final cutscene of that mission, it became like weirdly cinematic. Like, you still had the text box at the bottom, but instead of the characters being positioned like from at one side, either side of the screen to talk to each other, they made it strangely. I don't even know how to express it. It was kind of like, I kind of felt like a horror manga at some point. Like there were some really cool visual effects where that ghost girl would kind of pop in a way that was like unnatural from how the characters have been moving up until that point. Like it would just skip shot to shot to the different characters expressions, and then she would just like appear in places, and I just thought it was like, yeah, maybe like by itself it doesn't look very impressive, but with the whole game that's just been like characters talking at each other, it just seemed very fun at that time. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a horror movie, this is what I want from a horror movie, but like, in PSP Vita era graphics that are very like bright and colorful. Like it was fun, I liked it. So those little like side cases, I think, are kind of important just to break up like the monotony of Kyoko's exposition. Like we needed that, we really did. um and another reason we kind of needed them, I think, is just because like they add the kind of mystery that the game kind of needs. The digital world and stuff, we kind of already know the deal that there's a whole parallel world with the Digimon in it. So the scenes where we're just in the real world and there's also like paranormal stuff going on that's like literally ghosts, like actual ghosts, even if it's unexplained, kind of makes it better, because it's not just everything can come back to Digimon. It's like there's a lot of phenomena in the world we don't really understand, and to add these little like side stories with ghosts specifically in it, I think it's great. And that is kind of what most of these side stories tend to be about, if I'm remembering right. Like there's the one where you're trying to take pictures of ghosts. There's the one with Pete the Wanyamon, who died because he was locked in a wall that got like a fucking room that got filled in when a building was under construction. Like the side stories, they kind of allude to the darker side of things that don't really get directly addressed, but again, they kind of help add the kind of like flavor that the main story isn't really bringing. Like the main story is a kind of bog standard heroic quest, and yeah, there were actually some parts of the main story that were very heartfelt and a touch darker than I expected them to really go. Like all the stuff with the ghosts and the shenanigans, that was really like indirect and not very serious at times, but Arata's entire arc with him regaining his memories, the painful reminder of like his personal failures, like his quest for revenge and power, his like switch to the dark side, it straight up kills Gallantmon. Like all of that going on there was darker than I expected it to be as well. The game as a whole is still very lighthearted despite the darker illusions, but for us to see that flashback of what Arata remembered as a child, like him seeing his best friend's supposed body move after he's made the call to run away and him having his little freak out, that part really felt like bad to me. I was like, oh, that sucks, that feels bad, that does not feel good to see. Just seeing that one little thing, having that piece of context for all of Arata's regrets, I did not really expect the game to go that far, to be frank. Like, I really didn't expect it. And I personally think that was probably the darkest moment of the game. Like, obviously, at the end, they kind of redacted Gallantmon being dead and Yugo being dead forever, which I actually think it was a cheap ass cop out. They should have let them die. Like, fucking end the cycle of grief. Stop entering the canvas. Get the fuck out of there. Yeah, but no, they just brought them back to life. Death isn't real, apparently, unless you're Crusader Mon. Like that is probably the only thing that actually bugged me about the main story, is all of this like grieving that they've been doing these past 8 years. Or it's not really been grieving. Yuko has admitted that she's kind of been in a stasis for the entirety of the time that her brother's been in a coma, and Arata, without his memory, has just been like chasing power without really remembering why. Like they've all been in a stasis. That's how I'm gonna put it. They've been in a stasis the entire time. So for them to kind of pick up from where that trauma came from, 8 years ago, and to close the story on that, I like that part. I enjoyed it. I'm like, yeah, we're taking it back. We're gonna finish what we started, fix what we broke, and whatever. That stuff I enjoyed. The fact that they actually fixed it so perfectly and completely, though, that stuff irritated me. I do think this is kind of the bigger flaw of the story. They needed to let Hugo rest. Like, they needed to let go of that trauma somehow, and that is not somewhere that they went with this storyline. So I do think the fact that they actually didn't go for an ending where they let go of that or come to terms with it, and they went with like a full redaction of those events where the kid's no longer in a coma, he just comes back, no issue. I did not like that. They really needed to let that go. Like, they really needed to just accept what had happened 8 years ago. So I this is why games that always are like friggin' always have a happy ending are really, yeah. But okay, now that I think about it, like, what's the other option? I don't think I can handle like another Expedition 33 where all options are bad options, because realistically, like, when it comes to grief, you can't just like get over it. And maybe this was a better option because I don't know how well you could tell that story of overcoming it in like a game that can barely do its exposition, right? Like, come on. And maybe I'm expecting too much here. And that's kind of partially why it's partially why I even started playing this game to begin with. Like, I have been playing a lot of good games this year, and that is not good. Because typically, games, especially from my beloved childhood franchises and IPs, the modern games that they've been coming out with have not been good. So, after the heels of Silk Song, after playing Expedition 33, and then yeah, it's just not good to have that high of an expectation to go into Time Stranger with. So replaying Cyber Sleuth and kind of enjoying the bits that I did and unenjoying the bits that I didn't, it's partially been to kind of just like lower my standards, right? So we've done it, we've finished the game, and now I gotta go play Cyber Sleuth. Like, I think it unlocks in 15 minutes or something. Thought it was gonna unlock at 5 p.m., but now it's almost 6, and I don't think I can download it yet. It doesn't even let me pre-install it. Can I download it yet? No, whatever. Anyways, but before I go into it, like, I just want to get all of my concerns out because I want to enjoy it, but after Digimon Survive, Digimon Survive is like really, really frustrating to me because I actually really did like that opening bit with those two kids who got trapped in the digital world or whatever. But the unfortunate thing is, I really liked their story and I did not care at all about the rest of the cast. Like, I literally could not get invested in any of them. And I don't know why it was. Like, considering how long it is, I thought at some point I would come across a character who I wanted to see their story play out from beginning to end. But that didn't really happen. And maybe I just needed to play the other two endings, but I was not going to replay that shit like for a true ending. No way, not a chance. I did the first playthrough and it didn't get me engaged with the story or the character, so I wasn't going to spend like another however many hours to get through just to finish the game. It just didn't engage me, I guess, and that's part of the reason that I don't want to get too excited again for Time Stranger, because I was really let down by Survive. Like, not the visual novel aspects themselves, but just the story itself. Like, I can deal with visual novels. Like, I've enjoyed them. I played a lot of boring ones, but I didn't want this one to be boring. It was like fucking $80, dude. Like, it better be an $80 visual novel. But no, it doesn't even have basic ass fucking quality of life features. Oh my god. Gameplay aside, I'm not gonna talk about the other aspect, like the literal battling aspect, because I don't care. I don't remember it. I don't care. I think there was an auto battle feature that I turned on at some point, and that made everything easy and perfect. So that was awesome. But then the actual story itself was really where the letdown was. Like, you know what? No, there was too many letdowns. But no, I don't want that to color my expectations of Time Stranger at all. So there we have it. We've gone and replayed Cyber Sleuth, so that yay, my expectations should be lower. But now I've actually run into a bit of an opposite problem in which they're kind of a bit elevated. Like I'm in a weird position where I'm I thought I just wanted the game to at least be more enjoyable than Survive was, but now I want the game to at least have like character arcs. Like I just want characters to have arcs, and that is probably not a big ask in most cases, but it's a big ask lately. So there's that. The other thing that made me want to lower my standards again was I did actually play the Time Stranger demo. I really enjoyed the opening sequence, actually. There was a lot of things I liked about it. Mostly that I like Digimon. I like grinding up Digimon, evolving them, unevolving them. I like that you can do all of it from your main menu now. I like that you don't have to actually go to a Digilab, so that was awesome. I'm hoping that's like a permanent feature, not like a demo thing, like where they just let you do that in the demo. I'm hoping they just let you do that like all the time because that's awesome. Quality of life thing, fantastic. That does mean there is an improvement and there has been evolution in the last 10 years, so that's amazing. Round of applause. But there was a lot of other stuff that I saw in the demo that made me do a bit of a double take because for starters, the model for the player character is like enormous compared to the rest of the NPCs, and they're scaled very weirdly to the environment on top of that. The NPCs as well, they're weird. They're weird. I think I could get used to it, but they were very weird to have them utterly faceless. I'm hoping it's fine. It doesn't matter because we spend most of the time in a digital world where the Digimon models are much cooler. So I'm not too fussed about that. But I did notice that that part was weird. On top of that, the fact that we have another silent protagonist kind of concerns me. Not because I don't think they can be good. In fact, I actually really like the silent protagonist for Cyber Sleuth. I think Aiba is an incredibly fun character. They were extremely goofy, and I actually think playing into that as like a meta thing for their character was really fun. Like it made the game enjoyable. It made them more interesting. It made them distinct and unique in a way that doesn't just make them like a pure avatar for the character. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I actually think Aiba is a great character to play as, even if they do feel kind of static in some ways. I think when a silent protagonist is done like that, like it's nice because it's not super serious or self serious. Like they don't take themselves too seriously with that character, and it's fun because of that. I am slightly concerned about this one being a silent protagonist because I've seen the cover art, and the I don't understand why, or maybe if I'm just like not looking at them properly, but the main character looks slightly like sinister. Like I don't know why, but they look a little bit menacing in all of the cover art that I've seen. Like in the actual cover art, why why do they look like that? Why do they smile like that? They're given like villain vibes for some reason. I don't understand it. I like it. I think it's cool. I also think that one image of them standing like on a building with their eyes glowing menacingly was very cool. I thought that was awesome. But like how are you going to do a silent protagonist like that? Like I don't know. I'm concerned about it. It's been like I don't know if they're going to make it as fun as they did with Cyber Sleuth. I think that's part of the reason I didn't like Hacker's Memory actually, because like the protagonist was so boring to me. I'm hoping the character will be fun, but I don't understand how they're gonna do it. I guess we'll see. I think the game is finally out now, so I can go play it. But wait, no, I have to download it. Oh my gosh. Okay, but like, point being, that was another concern. So there's that. There's been a lot of concerns about this game. I just want my expectations to not be high That's why I played Cyber Sleuth, but now that I've played Cyber Sleuth, they're like high again because Cyber Sleuth was like, look, we can hit like a minimum quality of enjoyability for you to play a game with. It's like, nice. I like that. I like that you could do that. I don't trust that you can pull it off this time around. I hope you can, but I don't believe in it. So this sucks. I want it to be good. I think it's probably gonna be good, which I shouldn't think that. I shouldn't think that. It's all right. It's all right. I think I got all of my thoughts out here, so we're just gonna have to stop worrying about it and go play the game and pray that it's gonna be stronger than just its opening act. And I'm gonna have to pray that we didn't just peak with that sick Digimon entrance. Like, we're just gonna have to pray. Okay, scratch that. It's not out yet. I can't even download it yet. I don't understand. But all right, so I'm just gonna like get some of my other concerns out real quick. The party seems very small. Like it's just the main character, that girl and that Digimon, right? Like that's what the party is gonna be. I hope they have like a fun dynamic and like I don't know, other fun characters to riff off of. Because if it's just those three, like that's gonna be boring as hell. I don't know about that, man. Okay, and then the other thing is like I played the female avatar in Cyber Sleuth, and I think that's part of the reason the game was so funny to me because this girl was acting like a fucking, literally just acting like a shonen protagonist the entire time. Like her fucking blowout with Arata was so funny to me. I was like, did you really just punch him? And she did. And then they just punch each other after that. Like what is that? That's so funny. I think it was great. So now my other concern is like what if they actually dedicated a separate, like clearly what happened was they didn't have many separate dialogue options for male and female characters, right? And it makes the female characters super funny. But like I'm worried now that for this game they're gonna actually have like dedicated dialogue for both versions of the character, so they might not get the fun of just like a female character just getting male lines the entire time. I think that's gonna be really boring if they actually do it like that. Like if I personally think they should just do the same thing they did for Cyber Sleuth and have both characters have just identical lines and identical actions. I think it'd be really funny. But I don't think that's gonna happen. So that's my other concern. And speaking of like the main character, like the avatar characters, I think the female character looks boring compared to the male character. Like the male avatar is straight up like a pilot, and then the female avatar is like a flight attendant. Like, isn't that the vibes there that you're getting from that? That's the vibes I'm getting from it. Like she works at like fucking, she's like at Qantas or something. She's flying Emirates. Like that's what she's doing.